Good morning, my DIYers, the get-her-doners, those that are out there making it happen, the self-employed, the ones that are employed by somebody, and you're putting in the 12-hour days, and you're making it happen in this world. Good morning. I am headed over to a house we've been working on, house you have seen many a times, but I did something to it one day last week. My granddaughter, Jeff was off. My granddaughter helped me that day. We did something. I'm going to take you over and show you that. Just trying to keep you up to date with this house over here and what I'm doing to it. And I'm going to try to get what we're doing today done to it, to where we can move to another location and wait for the sheetrockers to come into this house, for a contractor to come in and take out the load-bearing wall and brace that up. So I'm headed over there. And if I'm looking away and look distracted, that's because I'm driving and there's some traffic and I don't want to have a wreck this morning, and this person's driving down the middle of the road. They didn't know I had half of it. I'll see you in just a minute when I get to that house. Looks like we might be in for some rain. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Dave.
This is the ceiling that Ryder and I took down last week. I put it on Facebook and Instagram, if you follow me on there. So this morning I got Jeff coming around and he's kind of cleaning it up, taking out staples, making sure nails, making sure this is flat. And like little places like this, he's going to pull that out so it's flat. The sheetrock can go across. But I wanted it to match the ceiling in the living room. This is the type of ceiling that was in the kitchen, but not in this good a shape. The ceiling in here in the kitchen, this used to heat with gas. And so that had yellowed it a little. The ceiling was yellow from cooking, grease, and all of that kind of stuff. So I just took it out. I wanted it to match the ceiling that's going to be in the living room, because we're taking all of this wall out right here to open this up and make it one room. So this is kind of a slow, tedious job, you know, going all over the whole thing and getting it smooth where they can put sheetrock on it. And now I'm not sure if it's going to work what I've got on my agenda to do next. There's a couple here locally that a few years ago did my wife a large favor when she needed it, and so I have tried a couple times to pay them back, and for their generosity, their kindness. And generosity, what I mean, just their time that it took to help us with what they helped us with. And so he's got a little spot, 3 acres I think it is, that he wanted bush hog, so I'm gonna run out there and do that. It looks like it could pour down rain any minute. I've got my bush hog all cleaned up. I hate to get it out and get it wet and nasty. Today is the best day I got to do it, because I've got that Jeff can work on, and I'm trying to get that done so the sheetrockers can come in and Jeff and I can move to another location. So I'm going to try to go bush hog this, and hopefully the rain will hold off long enough for me to get it done, that it don't come a downpour. Well, it is sprinkling. Call me crazy, call me whatever. I don't really know. I am interested, you that do bush hogging, tractor work, or whatever, if you had some bush hogging to do and you were like me, can't get caught up to the cart. You know, it's not the case of I've got the cart before the horse, I just can't even catch the cart. It's running so fast downhill, I got so much to do, and I'm needing to get this knocked out so I can get somewhere else. So if you were in the shape I'm in, got so much on your plate you can't get to it, would you bush hog in these damp conditions? Well, so much for the accuracy of the Weather Channel. It is pouring down. The Weather Channel was saying that it was just going to be that sprinkling. It's maybe fogged up, I don't know, I can't really tell. It's extremely humid out here. If it is, I'm sorry. But the Weather Channel was like, it was just going to sprinkle. There was going to be about a 2 or 3 hour window. Then we were supposed to have a pour down. but they were wrong. As hard as it's rained now, I guess I'll scrap this plan. And the thing that's pressing is this guy needs it bush hogged like ASAP. And my wife gets on me all the time for doing favors for people. And she's like, quit doing favors for people. You got too much to do as it is. Well, I'm back. It is 10 minutes after 3. Finally back. Clouds moved out, sun come out. It is HOT hot and very humid. I'll see you when we get to the field. Hard to do this one-handed. Had to steer the tractor. And we're on a little sidling. It's going to take that other side. There it goes. Second to drop because we was on a little sidling hill. Now you can tell this has been mowed. There's actually a bunch of this that's been mowed. I came out here last week and mowed a bunch of this for him. And I missed a little section in the back. I misunderstood him that he wanted bush hog, that I didn't bush hog. And I shot the video last week with the GoPro, and these GoPros, they are as glitchy and finicky as can be. And I shot a video out here, and the first 2 shots had sound, and the rest of it had none. I mowed out here last week, and it was 97 degrees, beating sun, I don't even know what the humidity was, outrageous. The heat index was 117. So I wanted to shoot that video to talk to you about the cab a little bit. Before I talk to you about the cab, I will tell you I've checked with a couple people trying to get these windows tinted, and I'm having trouble finding somebody that will tint tractor windows. When it's 97 degrees and that heat index is 117, it's, I don't have a thermometer in here, but I know that it was 76 degrees to maybe 80. The glass was just hot to the touch. Today the temp is in the upper 80s. Humidity is high, but the heat index is not so bad. The sun is not so just fierce like it was last week. So I've just got the air conditioner on number 2, but I hadn't started bush hogging. When you start bush hogging and you start running that motor up there at PTO speed, and everything starts getting warmed up, I'll have to probably kick it up on high for it to keep the tractor cab cool. The Grand L Cab is a good cab, but like anything else, it's got room for improvement. It is a little noisy. There's no insulation around this. And last week when I was bush hogging, this was so hot, all of this area, you couldn't put your hand on it. It was so hot. Of course, that's where all of the hydraulics are under there, and there's no insulation, so when you're running at PTO speed, it gets noisy in here and it gets hot. Now, as long as the temperature is, we'll see what it does today, because I'll check the temperature, but it's in the upper 80s. But my experience in the past, we'll see what it does today, that if it's in the upper 80s, I can normally keep it cool in here. You see I have this rag right here. That's because you can actually see out. Let me try to get you positioned. You can actually see out right there and right there. Now this is my book, it's not your book. But in my book, that's really unacceptable. When you buy a Grand L, and I'm not going to tell you what the price of this 6060 is, you can find out yourself if you don't know. But when you pay that much on a tractor, for a tractor, there shouldn't be no cracks in it. Now, I will tell you this, that a buddy of mine named Rich, he's a farmer, and I think they run exclusively John Deere. Of course, we're talking bigger farm equipment type tractors. And he told me like last week, when it's in that 90s and the heat index is 117, he has trouble cooling them cabs on those John Deeres. He said even on those John Deere's, those big tractors, when it's like it was last week, it's in the top 90s, heat index is well over 100. It's just so much glass you're trying to cool and so much heat coming in. So that made me feel a little bit better, but I'm like, it could be better.
But knowing he had trouble in those big John Deeres, you know, keeping them cool. But there could be insulation in this roof. There could be some barriers put in here. That, where that four-wheel drive lever's at, there shouldn't be no where you see outside. To me, that's just unacceptable. Well, let's get back here and get to bush hogging. We're getting started bush hogging here. I'm back here. You can see the size of this stuff. It's, you know, it's over the front tires. It's up to this rod. I'm actually lapping over where I bush hogged last week just to freshen it up. We'll get into taking a full swath here in just a minute. I was really kind of just letting the temperature come up on everything. Probably already there, but I've just taken it easy before I really get in there and start loading it. And I've got the cruise set. I set it at about 2 miles an hour. That way, if I want to speed up, I just use my HDS and speed up, but there's just not any need to push it. I don't have that much to bush hog, and I'd rather be easier on my equipment. I'm gonna turn a little bit and miss that big briar, that big thorn bush. That's a flat tire waiting to happen. Any of you that's got the Grand L Cab, like what I was talking about, like where the four-wheel drive lever is, you know, and you can see outside right there. What do you feel about that? How do you feel about the noise? How do you feel about the air conditioner? It's doing good right now. We're still on number 2. I can tell it's warming up just a tad in here, but not enough to move it up to number 3. But what's your feelings on it? If you're a person that's got a John Deere that's in the 60 horse range, tell me about your cab. Tell me about your air conditioner, because I'd really like to know. Or if you've got a Massey Ferguson or a Ford or whatever you've got, a New Holland. You know, if you're in the 60 horse range, or I don't guess it really matters if you are, if you're not, whatever tractor you got with a cab, tell me how it does when it's 97 degrees outside and 117 heat index without your windows being tinted. Well, we're gonna go up to number 3. It's getting just a little warm. Last week when it was 97, 117 heat index, you couldn't even hardly feel the vents, man. They were just, I'd put my hand up to them, they were blowing cold air, but you bring your hand back just a little bit and it was warm air. There was just so much heat coming in that glass that it would warm the air up before it got to. Now in this, you can see I'm moving 3 miles an hour, but not real big. I could pull it faster, but the ground's rough. Now this is some pretty good sized stuff right here. You can see, and I can hit the HDS. We can go up to 3.3. It's pulling it down a little bit. Yeah, but we got to kick it back. But let's get through it right here. See, it's going to drop back down. The ground's not really smooth enough, but here the grass drops back down. So we can bush hog about 3.5, seeing something like this. And we're going to come into that, and that is tall and thick. There's a bunch of honeysuckle type stuff in this. It is thick, thick. We're moving at 2.1, 2.2 mile an hour. You can see how it's just pushing it over. Bush hog's taking it down. We're taking a full swath. So here we come again. You know, this is up higher than the hood of the tractor. There's some stuff right here that's as tall as the cab. 2.1 mile an hour. You can see that's some big stuff. I've got a question for you people that are outdoorsmen out in the middle of this field. Look at that right there. Something digging. What's that? Is that bears? Mountain lions? Tigers? Is it alligators or crocodiles? Sea turtles laying their eggs? I just thought that was odd out in the middle of all this brush. Here we are coming back up on this again. You can definitely see like claw marks right there digging. So now I'm wondering, is this more evidence of Sasquatch? Or is it aliens? They're mad because we've come to the moon and Mars and took soil samples, and they've come down here and taken soil samples. I got the field bush hog. I think that should be all he wanted. We're gonna load up and get out of here. Or not load up, we're just gonna fold up and get out of here. When I get home, I'm gonna show you a piece that fell off the tractor. And if you've got a Kubota or arms like this, you might want to check it out. Shutting her down. And I got to clean the bush hog again. I'm headed home. When I get home, I'm going to show you what fell off. Well, you might can see around that hood. I got it. Blew off again. Let me just one more time. You see, I don't know if I'm getting the camera in the right spot that you can, you can see through there. Looks like this is kind of broke. Yeah, it has. See there? That's cheap, ain't it? When you're already at a Kubota L6060, you're paying that kind of price. What's a little bit more to put an electronic four-wheel drive on it and not even have that handle to where, it's sealed up? To me, that's not grand. All right, let me see if I can get you a shot of this. You see that bolt right there? That came out of the third arm there. And that whole thing just fell down. If it hadn't been for the quick hitch on there, that whole arm would have hit the ground. This is the only thing that just kept it from hitting the ground. One other thing, and this is not anything about Kubota, but you see I have the electric, I guess they're electric over hydraulic, quick couplers. If you don't use those, they will freeze up on you. I had a New Holland skid loader that had those on it, and that was one of the things they told me when I bought that. They was like, you got to constantly be using them or they will freeze up on you, and they will. Right after I bought this tractor, I wasn't using it a whole lot, and then I used it some, then I wasn't using it a lot, and those got to where they wasn't working very good. And you can grease them, whatever you want to do, and I don't know what it is, but they'll get to where they don't want to uncouple and couple. Well, guys, that's the video. Hope y'all have a blessed day. I'll see you on another video.